My name's Evan Davis. I have a production company called Tucson Media Studio here in Tucson, Arizona. I started in video back in 1988, so roughly, over 35 years ago, I guess. I got into video because at the time I was really into music. I was studying instrumental music performance at the university here, and I realized I'm not going to make a living at that. So I went to my local community college and I took a class called Introduction to Telecommunications, and never looked back. Bought a camera in 1990. I bought my first camera and a set of lights and some microphones, and I started making content. Did a lot of weddings originally. Then I started getting into working with nonprofit organizations in the Tucson area. So I spent the first 20 years of my career, I spent traveling all over the world, working with nonprofit organizations and causes, doing documentary style storytelling to help them connect better with their, supporters, raise money, tell their story. And at some point in time, I got burned out on travel. I wanted to stay closer to home, so I started Tucson Media Studio so that I could work in the Tucson area, continuing with the same kind of documentary style approach to storytelling, but now I'm working with a lot of businesses. I liked telling those authentic stories of the need that, say it was a homelessness nonprofit, being able to film the stories of homeless people and the challenges and the plight, and being able to film the programs that this homeless shelter offers and put those things together in a story. I really loved that compared to like businesses wanted these highly scripted, to me they felt contrived and kind of artificial efforts to sell people something they don't need. So after I'd worked with literally hundreds of nonprofits throughout the world, I realized that making a video for that organization allowed that organization to reach people they already, were connected with and tell them about the work that they had been able to do, but they weren't able to reach people outside of their circle. So I got the idea, what if I did documentaries on the issue featuring those organizations as experts, so to speak, in the documentary? The documentary could reach so much bigger audience than just the nonprofit might be able to reach. So I started making those kinds of films. My most the project I'm most proud of and that I feel was most successful is a film about gendercide, we call it. We filmed it in India and China, and it's about the son preference culture and the tendency to eliminate girls because nobody wants to have girls. In China, it's the one-child policy. Your son carries on the family name, inherits family wealth. Your daughter, once she's married, becomes a part of someone else's family. In India, there's a dowry system where when she becomes part of someone else's family through marriage, she takes a large part of your wealth with her. So nobody wants daughters, and as a result, millions of girls have been killed every year in these countries. It's called It's a Girl, the 3 deadliest words in the world. Tucson Media Studio has been a successful production company in that I've been able to rank my website well on Google, and I get a lot of good leads through that, and I get a lot of production projects in Tucson, but they tend to be one-off projects where I make a video for an organization and then we're done, and they're projects that have kind of a smaller impact, I think, than I would like. And Tucson's a relatively small market for me. I found that through Tucson Media Studio, I was limited in how much I could grow my business. So I had been finding myself doing a lot more social media strategies, a lot more creating social media reels and YouTube videos, educational content for people, and realized that really that's where things are going. With each new generation, we seem to be less inclined to want to feel like we're being sold. We want an authentic experience. We want a relationship with the businesses and the products we hire. We're more likely to hire a business or buy a product if we've seen a 5-star review from someone that looks just like us, a peer, saying it was great working with this company, or this product is really good, right? So the whole idea of social proof and creating content that answers your customers' most burning questions, answers to their fears and their objections, and develops a relationship with them, rather than trying to sell them, chase them with commercial content, scripting stuff that's manipulative, or, I liked the idea of that much better. And I think our audiences today want that. I would rather have a ongoing relationship with a client where I can produce monthly content over a period of time and really move the needle, help them target their audience and get their content in front of their audience and develop that relationship. And that's why I call it relationship marketing. And so instead of trying to sell, we're developing a relationship. We're helping people solve their problem, really, whether they hire us or not. And inevitably, they hire us because they trust us now, right? We do a lot of analytics and looking at the performance and then adjusting the strategy, and are we targeting their ideal qualified leads or not. So I'm able to actually get them an ROI. I'm able to actually get them new leads, new customers through the content. Whereas before, I made the content, I passed it off to them, and it was really up to them whether they got anything out of the content. And I always felt bad about that, not helping them really turn that content into new business. Now I can do that. So I felt like my production company here in Tucson was doing okay, but I felt like I was limited in my ability to grow. So this new venture, relationshipmarketing.online, allows me to work with a national market. I can work with people anywhere in the US rather than just my local community. So I think that's where I was at. I was frustrated with the lack of growth, the lack of ability to reach a larger market, and the fact that my income was up and down. I would have really great months and then other months that were really low because most of these projects were just these one-off projects. Now with the recurring revenue model of relationship marketing, I'm trying to create a more stable income. I wanted a service that was a strategy rather than just a video. A lot of the businesses I'd been working with, they would come to me and they would say, I want a recruitment video, or I want a promotional video, or I want a testimonial video, and I would make that video for them. I wanted to create a service where I'm not just a video content creator, I'm a strategist and a consultant, someone who understands how to get you real results from your video content. It's a complete package that includes the content strategy and scripting. It includes how to share the content on social media as best practice for social media engagement. It includes a funnel that actually automates the process of making new connections on social media and getting your content in front of them, or targeting your audience. It's a complete holistic thing rather than just pieces like I felt like I was doing before. I think the biggest challenge that I faced was implementing the system for myself and proving it out so that I knew it was going to work for my customers. You can't really sell something that you're not actually using yourself or you haven't made use for yourself, right? So that required me to actually become a content creator for the first time, featuring myself. So I had to script a lot of my own content and get in front of the camera and film it and edit it and share it. And there was a lot of growth pains in that process for me. I'm at a point now where I've got my campaign running smoothly. I've been sharing reels and long-form YouTube content on all of the different best practices for the system, and I'm getting a lot of really great engagement, and I'm actually booking calls for myself, which is my ultimate goal for my client. I had some mindset struggles that he helped me kind of through as far as, man, do I have what it takes to do this? Or, a little bit of that sense of imposter syndrome. I was very experienced at the storytelling side and very confident in that, but the marketing funnel side was, new to me. And okay, am I presenting, am I being honest in, my capabilities, that whole struggle. But he really helped me through that, and I think that was a huge part of my journey. So relationship marketing is fundamentally about targeting and connecting with your ideal customer, and then developing a relationship over time with them. And sometimes that ends up being that you help them solve their problem and they never hire you, but then they're going to tell their friends about it, right? But in most cases, they eventually hire you because they still have this challenge or problem they need to overcome. And a lot of times it's going to be difficult for them to do that for themselves, and they need someone to help them. So you've developed that relationship through your content over time. The way you measure that success is we measure the initial success in how many new people we've been able to connect you with, and how many conversations we've been able to initiate through direct messages. This whole system works on social media, so it may be on Facebook or it may be on LinkedIn, where you feel like you can target your audience best. So those DMs are where once you've made the connection and they start encountering your reels and your content, the idea is to get a DM conversation going with them. So that's the second measurement, is how many DM conversations are we initiating for you. The third measurement of success is how many calls are we able to book with new potential clients as a result of those conversations. And then ultimately, the ultimate measure of success is how many new sales are you able to close as a result. So we track all of those things. And so this system is very measurable. And within the first, it takes up to 3 months to really spin it up, because it takes some time to get the content out there, to start making those connections, to nurture those conversations. Statistically, a new prospect needs around 7 hours of content connection, touch points with your content before they buy.
So my name's Ashton Davis. I got into videography when I was in high school. Basically starting at film class, and my dad, Evan Davis, he's a filmmaker. So, and he's been a filmmaker my whole life. So he kind of like helped me to hone the craft and encouraged and supported me in my own interests. And then from there, I just started doing it professionally, like out of high school. The decision that we made recently, like of my dad wanting me to do more, like be more involved, isn't necessarily taking over more work as much as he wants me to get more into producing, which is a different responsibility. I've been doing most of the video work for a while now. Like, it's been a thing that's just I've eased into over time. There wasn't like a point that we were like, you're gonna do all the work. And even still, my dad will probably do certain shoots that he wouldn't, Well, what Evan and I have discussed is that he's trying to go in a new direction. He's focusing more on this new brand and this business that he wants to start building. And Tucson Media Studio isn't as much of a priority for him anymore, which is why he would like me to step in and, start to take on more responsibility. So it's just one of those things where we'll see where it goes. I don't, like, Tucson Media Studio isn't gonna go anywhere. So there are multiple strategies for video marketing. The main one that Tucson Media Studio uses is kind of that traditional meeting with the client, filming for a few hours, and then getting out a few products that they'll use for, promotional elements or just for kind of long term. And then maybe they'll need some more work later on at a different point, and they'll rehire us to do that. There's also a strategy that is becoming much more popular and effective for the current social media, how social media is, becoming way more important, and how people get out their product and make people aware of their business and all of that. So the strategy to get lots of content out, basically trying to post every day if you can, appealing to the algorithm. There's a lot of elements to it. Like, this strategy is that people get out a lot of content, but not how the production company would help them. I said, for the first part, we come out, we film the thing, and then they have some products they can use. In Evan's case, he's trying to teach people how to make their own studio in their house so that they can film themselves while he's coaching them. A piece of advice I would give someone who's stepping into a family business role would be to set boundaries. You know, like when you're working with family, you want to make sure that you can have a professional relationship while also being able to have your personal relationship. And so that involves a lot of setting boundaries, communicating openly, being able to voice your opinions and be heard, and, you know, just working through those kinds of things. I definitely think that my work in film and the confidence that I've built in my work and in my capabilities has been able to help me just in my general life and my sense of self, you know, just feeling like, wow, like I did that and I have a skill and I'm like proud of myself, you know. So I'd say what I've learned about myself through this process is that I'm a lot more capable than I've thought in the past. You know, I've really been able to like grow into a more responsible and I guess you could say like I'm able to assert myself better. I'm able to be more confident in my work and in my ability to like approach the product, approach, you know, the shoot. So in my approach to handling pressure or just the extra load of work that I wasn't used to was just kind of like taking care of myself, trying to make sure I get enough sleep, making sure that I eat and I have food while, you know, if I have a long day, and definitely learning how to say no when I can't handle a certain amount of things, or a certain shoot seems a little bit out of my depth, you know what I mean? So a few challenges that I had coming into this role have been, firstly, when I just first started stepping more into video work, I was pretty competent with the camera. I didn't have as much issue figuring out how to actually shoot the different scenarios as much as actually directing, working with the client, telling them, basically you have to be much more assertive. You have to be able to be like, hey, this is what we're doing, this is how. Before that, I was doing a lot more just second camera. Evan was the one working with the client, actually directing, and then I was just shooting, right? So that was a big challenge of actually learning how to work with the talent directly. And then in terms of trying to step into production, or in terms of trying to step into pre-production, that's something I'm still learning. Actually discussing the strategy, how are we going to go about getting the product that the client's looking for, planning the shoot, budgeting, right, giving a quote, all of those kinds of things I'm still learning. But a big challenge I would say that I would have is just being very like available, you know, like just with the emailing or calling, you know, just having to be really on it, be really responsive. Like I can struggle a bit with that, so that that's gonna probably be a little bit of a challenge.